live. Hi, everybody. Thank you for being with us today. This is Sue Pine with my very special guest, Mary Ellen Hastings, on Tools for a More Peaceful Life. I want to welcome all our viewers and welcome you guys that are going to be watching us on the replay later. And Mary Ellen, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Sue, for the invitation. I'm delighted to be here.
Yes. For people that may not know Mary Ellen, she is a loving mom, coach. She's been married how many years this weekend?
56.
56 wonderful years. She's an author and she's got all kinds of great stuff going on. So, Mary Ellen, would you mind sharing with us a little bit of your background?
Sure, I'd be happy to. When I was growing up, I was in a military family. My dad was in the Marine Corps, and my dad had a great influence on me, but he was gone a lot. So there was the good influences, and then there was the absence.
Mm-hmm.
And the absence, I think, somehow I felt like something was missing. And so that's really how I got into what I do is personal development. I made that a lifetime adventure because I got used to the adventure of traveling with the military family, and I guess I needed another adventure. And that carried through because my husband is very adventurous, and we've had a wonderful life of adventure.
Great. Yes. From all I know about you, you weren't stopping either. It's one adventure after another.
No.
So I like to ask my guests if they would share one of the tools you use, or maybe how you discovered a tool you use for a more peaceful life.
Yes, and it's very timely that you asked this question because I'm in the middle of giving a course for high level sales and leadership ladies because I found that when I was in that position, I needed a way to feel peaceful because when you're that busy, you have so many things going around in your head, and it's hard to settle down. So I came across it accidentally, although I don't believe in accidents. I came across writing on the back of anything that I could get my hands on how I felt, and it turned into a letter to God. And so I've been doing that for a long time, but not formally. It would just be if I was sitting in a diner, I would turn over the placemat and start writing while I was waiting for somebody to do, an interview with or a one-on-one, some kind of a business meeting. And then anytime I could just feel it inside, feel the need to unload what was going on inside of me, I grab a piece of paper. And now I do it in a journal. And it's been so effective in my life that that's part of what I teach to other successful women.
Yeah. Yeah. I find that journaling is probably one of the best tools that I have found to help, just with all that stuff that goes in your head. And when you're so busy all the time, it does get overwhelming at times.
It does, sure.
Yeah. This course that you're doing, um, the letters to God, what are
Mm-hmm.
some of the things that you're addressing?
Well, for me, it's like a state of the union. I have a same chair that I go to every day, and I take my journal and I open it up, and I usually grab my coffee, open up the journal, and I'll say, "Good morning, God," or "Good morning, Lord," or whatever hits me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I tell him all the feelings that I have, whether they're joy or sorrow or fear or, whatever is going on inside of my head and inside of my body. I unload it all on the paper. And then what I do when it's complete, well, let me back up a little bit. First, on the left-hand side of my journal, I write the letter, excuse me. And on the right-hand side of my journal, I write what I hear God speak back to me as I'm writing to Him. And then when it's all finished, I use visualization to lift up the burdens that I put on the journal, and I hand them over to God, and I put them on His shoulders, which are certainly stronger than my shoulders. And then I take my hands away and I let go. And it is amazing how I can then let all that go and go about my day. So it is truly one of my favorite gifts.
Wow, that sounds so peaceful.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
You know, once you've had a peaceful life, you won't settle for anything less. That's what I found. And so if that's what I have to do every day to have a peaceful life, hey, it's my pleasure.
yeah. So if you had to describe your morning routine, would you say that's something you do basically first thing in the morning, or do you do it at different
Absolutely.
times?
First. Yeah, and in the earlier, busier times, I probably was spending maybe 15 minutes to a half hour, and now I do spend at least an hour a day because of other little books that I read with it,
Mm-hmm.
inspirational, that help me. And I have certain ones that I read all the time, and I look forward to them, and I get a certain thing from each type of book. So it's my quiet time and it's preparation for the day. And it keeps me grounded in today. I don't have to worry about yesterday. I don't have to worry about tomorrow. I'm just in today and what I'm called to do today.
Yeah. There are so many people that need to hear that message that we need to be present, you know? We don't need to worry about yesterday and we don't need to worry about the future because that's not here yet. We just
Nope.
need to worry about actually nothing. We just need to live
Yeah.
for today.
Yeah. I agree, Sue.
But you do have things coming on in the future, you know, and it's important for us to set goals and things.
Yeah. hmm
I hear
One of the
values.
things that I suggest that people use their journal as often as they need it. Some people, it will be just occasionally when they really feel overwhelmed. They can go grab their journal. For some people, it's every morning. For some people, it's morning and evening. And some people, when they're going through a really tough period in their life, they may journal up to 5 or more times a day. Like when, they let it go and then something else will come up and they'll just feel overwhelmed again because they're going through something. Like maybe they're going through experiencing COVID or, a serious thing in their life, losing somebody who's important to them. So they grab that journal and they write as many times as they need it.
Yeah. And do you keep your journals?
I do.
Yeah,
I do keep them.
I do too. I don't really look at them all that often, but I do
Yeah.
find it helpful if I'm feeling like I'm just not making progress to go back a year
Yeah.
and look at that journal.
And I guess I should tell you about one other thing that I use for the same reason.
Mm-hmm.
Although I empty my feelings and I do that every day and I love it, there are situations that are so stubborn, they just won't go away. And I sometimes I've had it now. What am I going to do with this? So here's what I do. Let me see if I have it in front of me. I do not have it. Okay, I have this little box and I call it my God box.
Okay.
And so what I do is I write a little note about what's going on, my feelings or whatever it is, and I fold it up and I take off the lid, I put it in the box, and then I put the lid back on it, and then I go put the God box away, and I may not look at it for weeks or months. And then once I get around to going back and looking in my God box,
Mm-hmm.
and I open it up and just read a couple of those papers or 3 or 4, they almost always have dissipated or become manageable. So,
Wow.
your stubborn things, the God box.
Yeah. Oh, that's a cool idea. I like
Yeah,
that.
it works. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. That would definitely.
And I heard these from other people. I didn't create any of this.
Yeah.
I'm just the
Well, that's
messenger,
okay.
but it's so good to pass along because it
It
really works. I've
is. Yeah,
used it for years.
I agree. So, speaking of the future and setting goals, I understand that you have a new program coming up
Oh
Would
my
you like to
gosh.
tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, well, it's taken me a while to realize that God is calling me to work with leaders who are already successful
Mm-hmm.
because there's really not much for them. And it's very lonely at the top. And I remember being there
Mm-hmm.
and not having really a place to go for camaraderie because you couldn't really talk to your downline. You might frighten them. You just have to
Mm-hmm.
be careful. So I feel like that is where I'm called. And so I have been doing one-on-one coaching. Well, of course, I coached in my 35 years in direct selling all the time.
Right.
But as my own business, I've been doing one-on-one coaching for the last 3 years. And this year I've decided, and I've done some now, group coaching. And I absolutely love it because people who are in the group, they help each other. It's not just me.
Right.
It's the synergy that takes place that is totally out of my control. It's just wonderful to experience. And so I've been encouraged by one of my coaches to put all of my really good programs together. I really never had more than a 3-month program. So
Mm-hmm.
now I'm creating a 6-month program. And it is my best. And I'm 79 years old, and I don't know how many years I have left to tell everybody what God has shared with me. And so I have no time to waste. So,
Right.
in this program, the participants are going to discover how to build a strong foundation based on identifying and living their personal core values. Like, that's the basis. So, if
That's
they start there,
great.
then they can go forward, and then they will discover their high qualities, like what are their best gifts. They will learn to appreciate themselves and really see how lovable they truly are, because I think that's a part that needs healing. We all have difficult backgrounds. I mean, I don't care who it is. There are people in our lives, whether it was teachers or brothers or uncles and, or strangers or whatever, who, created problems in our lives one way or another, some more severe than others. And so we need to be able to let that go. And so part of what I teach is how to let go of the past. And I give the participants tools to never, if they use the tools, they will never have another regret in their life. And these
Wow.
are all tools that I had to learn so
Mm-hmm.
that I could get to the top and stay there, you know? And I found that as a leader, grew, and I taught all those techniques to my leaders, and they taught them to their leaders.
Yeah.
My gosh, that's why we had multi-million-dollar teams,
Right.
because everybody started at the top with personal growth and they shared it downline and all the way down to just loving our hostesses and customers. So it started all the way at the top, and gradually it worked its way down. It was just an amazing experience. So together, besides that, together we will unpack the 8 steps to excel in sales, leadership, and personal growth, which comes from my latest book on business. The name of the book is Follow Your Heart for Life, Be Happy, 8 Steps for Women of Faith to Excel in Sales, Leadership, and Personal Development.
And I have to tell you, Mary Ellen, that I love your latest book. You know,
Aw,
it was, it's an easy read, but it's a thought provoking read. And I, I think no matter what area of life you're in, that can be beneficial.
thank you. I really appreciate that. And one of the things that was suggested to me, which I did, and I think it takes some time, but if you start at the beginning of the book and you actually fill out the pages
Right.
um, at the end of each chapter, when you get to the end of the book, you will be a different person. You will
Yeah.
be ahead of where you were when you started. Plus, you'll have all those concepts that you can use in the future. So that book did not just come from me. It came from me sharing with other people,
Mm-hmm.
especially the people who were in my organization. And they shared back with me, like, not only is what they shared, some of what they shared in the book,
Mm-hmm.
but they said, well, why don't you put this in? And why don't you put that in? And so it's a combination of all of us wanting to make the world a better place by sharing our experiences.
Right. And isn't that what we are really all here for? Is to
Yeah,
work together and make the world a better place.
I think so. I mean, that's where I get my joy.
Right.
And, people want that. They just don't know how to do it.
Right.
So I feel like God is calling me to be one of the people who teaches them how to do it. Now, they could take 30 years to learn it. I mean, they could,
Yeah.
or they can read my book, or if they are really wise, they realize the value of spending money on their own development. And as they invest in themselves, my gosh, everyone around them will grow. So
Right.
those are the people I would say are my ideal clients.
Yes.
They are already successful and they have a lot of people that they affect in their life. But, they are always open-minded. They want to become the best version of themselves. They really want to. And if there's something that they can uncover to make them better or fill in something that needs to be filled in, they're delighted to do it. And I love working with people like that. And that's the kind of leaders I had. And because I had those kinds of leaders, that's why we did so well.
That's great. I'm in a program now called the Inside Out Institute, and we are doing wonderful things as well to help change the world. But I think that as long as people are all working towards that common goal, be kind, help others, don't stir stuff up, find a peaceful way to address things. That's why we're here. So, Marilyn, I have loved our conversation. Can you tell me how people can find you?
Well, yes, you can find me on Facebook, my Facebook group. Um, but I think a fast way to find me would be personal message me. If you're interested in information, I am making a VIP list for the next program. It's in creation mode right now, but we should start maybe in about a month or two. So I'm creating a list of people who want to be notified and they want more information. And I can be reached at Mary Ellen at maryellenhastings.com. And if
Okay.
you go to my Facebook page, my profile, you'll see every place you can find me. And so what you would do is Mary Ellen Smith Hastings. And you can find me there, and then you'll see my groups and everything that I try to contribute to.
That is great. Well, I really appreciate what you've shared with us. Is there anything you'd like to add?
I'd like to tell people who maybe I'll never see them again or whatever, that God loves them and they are loved by God and therefore they are lovable. And if by chance you go on my website, maryellenhastings.com, it's not completely up to date. I have to be honest with you. But what it says at the very top is that you are loved and lovable. And that's my truth. And that's what I feel that I'm here to spread.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you to our viewers today. Thank you for those that are watching the replay. Thank you, Mary Ellen. If you are having trouble connecting to Mary Ellen, please let me know and I'll make that connection for you. And I will also post you a link to her book in our comments when I share this out. Mary Ellen, thank you so much. It has been a pleasure, and you have a great day. Everybody
Thank you,
else,
everybody.
you
Thanks
as
for coming
well.
by.
Bye.
Bye-bye.